The radar screen flickers in the dim glow of the cockpit, just a few blips at first. Then suddenly, too many. Too fast. Too close. Too close. Somewhere over the desert, an American pilot grips the throttle of his F-15 Eagle, his heartbeat syncing with the warning tones in his headset. What he's about to face isn't supposed to happen, not like this. Not today, because out of the haze, rising like ghosts from the edge of Soviet engineering, come the hunters. MiG-29 fulcrums, and they're not running, they're ambushing. By the late 20th century, the Cold War had turned the skies into a proving ground for technological supremacy. The United States and the Soviet Union never clashed directly in open war, but their machines, jets, missiles, and doctrines were built for a single purpose: to defeat each other. The F-15 Eagle, introduced in the 1970s, was America's answer to Soviet airpower. Fast, heavily armed, and equipped with one of the most advanced radar systems of its time. It was designed to dominate beyond visual range. Its doctrine was simple: detect first, shoot first, kill first. But the Soviets had their own answer. The MiG-29 Fulcrum was born from a different lethal at close range, and capable of sudden, aggressive maneuvers, where the F-15 relied on distance and precision. The MiG-29 thrived in chaos, closing in like a knife fight in the sky. For years, these two aircraft existed as shadows of each other, never meeting in direct combat between their creators. But history has a way of bringing rivals together through proxies, through regional conflicts, through moments where theory becomes deadly reality. One such moment came in the skies over Iraq during the early 1990s, in the opening hours of the Gulf War. The desert night was thick with tension. Coalition forces had launched a massive air campaign, over 1,000 sorties in the first 24 hours alone. Their goal: cripple Iraq's command structure, eliminate its air defenses, and establish total air superiority. Among the coalition pilots was Captain Cesarico Rodriguez, a seasoned F-15 pilot with hundreds of hours in the Eagle.com, methodical, and trained for exactly this kind of mission. He trusted his aircraft hand, the doctrine behind it. Across the battlefield, Iraqi pilots prepared in silence. Many had trained in Soviet tactics, flying MiG-29s that were among the most advanced fighters in the Middle East at the time. But they faced overwhelming odds, outnumbered, outmatched in technology, and under constant threat. Still, some chose to fight. The ambush came fast. Rodriguez's radar painted targets at medium altitude, multiple contacts moving aggressively. They weren't retreating. They weren't scattering. They were climbing. MiG-29s. The Iraqi pilots had chosen a bold tactic: close the distance before the F-15s could fully exploit their radar advantage. If they could get within visual range, the fight would change. It would become unpredictable, dangerous, personal. Contacts hot, Rodriguez reports, his voice steady but tight. The sky erupts into motion. Missile locks flash across the cockpit displays. Radar-guided AIM Savasperos streak forward from the F-15s, invisible threads of death cutting through the darkness. But the MiG-29s are already maneuvering, diving, climbing, breaking formation. One MiG slips through. Rodriguez catches a glimpse of a dark silhouette against the faint glow of the horizon, engines roaring as it closes the gap. The Fulcrum is inside the envelope now, too close for comfort. What follows is a blur of motion. The MiG-29 pitches up sharply, executing a high-angle maneuver that few Western pilots had ever seen in combat. Its twin engines howl as it claws for position, trying to force the engagement into a turning fight. Rodriguez reacts instantly. A-banks hard, pulling G-forces that press him into his seat. The world outside his canopy spinning into streaks of sand and sky. Fox 2. He calls. A heat-seeking AIM-9 Sidewinder launches, tracking the MiG-SA engine heat. For a split second, time freezes. Then impact. Then impact. Then impact. A fireball blossoms in the sky, fragments scattering like sparks across the darkness. But the fight isn't over. Elsewhere in the theater, other F-15 pilots are engaging MiG-29s in similar encounters. In total, Iraq had around 30 MiG-29s at the start of the war. Many were destroyed in the air or on the ground within days. The numbers tell a brutal story. The F-15 would finish the conflict with an undefeated air-to-air combat record, over 30 kills and 0 losses in aerial combat. But numbers don't capture the tension, the fear, the razor-thin margins between life and death. For the Iraqi pilots, every sortie was a gamble. Some attempted daring intercepts, launching from hidden bases or using terrain to mask their approach. Others fled, flying their aircraft to neighboring countries, to avoid destruction. For the American pilots, the challenge was different. They had the advantage but also the responsibility to maintain it. One mistake, one miscontact, one unexpected maneuver and the tables could turn, because the MiG-29 was no ordinary opponent. In close combat, the Fulcrum proved it could be deadly. Its helmet-mounted sight allowed pilots to lock onto targets simply by looking at them on innovation that would later influence Western designs. Its agility, especially at low speeds, gave it a dangerous edge in dogfights. Some F-15 pilots later admitted, if the MiG-29 got too close, it became a serious threat. One pilot described it bluntly, "You don't want to get into a turning fight with a Fulcrum. That's their game." And yet, the Eagle's strengths prevailed. Superior radar, better training, and coordinated tactics allowed American pilots to engage on their terms. They controlled the distance, the timing, the engagement itself. The ambush when they happened were moments of chaos in an otherwise calculated war. Moments where doctrine met instinct, where technology met human decision. As the war progressed, the skies over Iraq became quieter. MiG-29 sorties dwindled. Air bases were bombed, command structures collapsed. The Iraqi Air Force, once a formidable regional power, was effectively neutralized within weeks. The F-15 Eagle emerged, not just as a symbol of American air dominance, but as proof of a new era in warfare, one where information, coordination, and precision outweighed sheer numbers or raw maneuverability. But the story didn't end there. Years later, after the Cold War had faded into history, former adversaries began to train together. In joint exercises, American pilots would finally fly against MiG-29s under controlled conditions, this time as allies or partners, not enemies. And something remarkable happened. They gained a deeper respect for each other. F-15 pilots learned just how dangerous the Fulcrum could be up close. MiG-29 pilots saw the overwhelming advantage of modern avionics and coordinated tactics. The myth became reality, and the reality was more nuanced than either side had imagined. Back in the desert skies of 1991, though there was no room for nuance. Only survival. Only seconds to decide. Only the sound of engines, the flash of missiles, and the knowledge that somewhere out there, another pilot who's as human, who's as afraid, is trying to outmaneuver you. The ambushes were brief, violent, decisive, but they revealed something timeless about air combat. It's not just machines against machines. It's minds against minds, reflex against reflex, courage against fear. Today, the F-15 Eagle still flies, upgraded and modernized, a testament to its enduring design. The MiG-29, too, remains in service around the world, its legacy carried by new generations of pilots. They no longer meet as enemies in the same way, but the memory of those encounters, those sudden, heart-stopping ambushes in the sky still lingers, a reminder of a time when the world stood on the edge of two superpowers, and even in the silence of the night, the sky itself could erupt into war.